Hell for Humans, the Object 250U is in the shop now for 15 euros. There is also the Super Conqueror, which I absolutely, definitely recommend as well, but video on that gonna be tomorrow. Now, the Object 250U, 15 euros for this vehicle is a great deal, especially also with these boosters. Now, obviously, these things are completely pointless. However, it's fully equipped. You have these boosters, which is a great thing. It is a good tank, so if you already wanted this tank, go for it right now. If you're not sure whether this tank might be for you, whether you should invest the money into this vehicle, then that's what the video is for. So sit back, relax, don't forget to like, subscribe. Let's get right into it. Let's have a look at the stats of this vehicle, and as you can immediately see, 420 alpha damage is higher than all the others here, which only have 400 most of the time. I mean, it's the IS-6, it doesn't really matter. The best rates are probably the T-4A2 and the MX-M49 in terms of heavy tanks. But obviously they are a slightly bit hard to play. The aim time, well, it's a Russian tank, so it doesn't have any, while the T-54 and the MX have massively better. They also have 10 degrees of gun depression, which again the Object does lack with only 6. But that is the case for all of these Russian and also Chinese heavy tanks at tier 8. They don't have gun depression, they have alpha damage. They don't have that much mobility, but they have very strong armor. Then the top speed is 35, which is a bit less than all the others here. But in terms of the power to weight ratio, it can keep up quite decently. And the terrain resistance. So basically, yeah, some would have the same mobility, but you're just a bit slower on the top end. Like the IS-6 feels as well. Or just the regular IS-6, because they're exactly identical. I just used this one because it showed up first. Yeah, but in terms of camo, for some reason, this thing has the best camo rating, which doesn't matter because it's a heavy tank, but I guess. The credit coefficient is 170%, which is 5% less than the T-42 and the AMX, which means that ideally you would want to have the T-54A2. That is the premium tank to have at tier 8. If you don't have the T-42, your main goal should always be to get the T-42 first. And this tank is fairly similar to the IS-7, as in that the gun is quite crap, but what saves this thing is the armor. As you can see here, 400mm. In a pretty much straight position, so it is absolutely impenetrable at the front. The turret is also insanely strong, except for the cupolas on top, but they're quite small, so they're also very hard to hit. The lower plate, however, is unfortunately massive. And with 6 degrees of gun depression only, it is not going to be very much possible to hide this plate, because you can't hide the top piece of it. So that is one of the massive downsides. However, just like the IS-7, it has a very angled hull on the side, which means side scraping this tank works beautifully. So it does also do well in tournaments where you just basically camp on a cap circle. So that is a great use for this vehicle. The armor is outstanding, turret is impenetrable, upper plate is basically impenetrable. Even if you turn it to the side, it still retains around 300mm, so this is basically impenetrable by most tier 8, except for tank destroyers. But the lower plate is quite weak at 157, so you're going to have to really watch out for that part. And now let's get into a battle with the Object 250U, and unfortunately I do have a shit team. What you need on this map, there is one rule for this map. On this map, you need to take control of this ridge over there. If you do not take control of that ridge, your chance of losing is extremely high. So, that is very unfortunate here already. However, the Object 250U is designed for one thing and one thing alone, and that is heavy tank combat. Obviously, it's a heavy tank. It's not a versatile tank. You can't fight mediums with it because you're inaccurate, you don't have that good mobility, you don't have gun depression. All those downsides weigh on it quite a lot and isn't really great. However, it does have the armor, it does have the alpha damage, and those are the two things that make this thing what it is. That also make it good. It is a very good tank, don't get me wrong there. It also has Russian bias, which means if you don't aim, you're still going to hit all your shots, most of the time at least. And in a city like this, it does work well. Unfortunately, most of the time in Blitz, the city is the bad part of the map where you don't want to be. So that doesn't really do well for it. Okay, now we're going to get rid of that Borsig, ideally. So let's find him, try to find him. Hello. Goodbye. You only have 2000 DPM, which obviously in a situation like this can be quite detrimental. However, you have very, very good armor. Which means, if there's an AMX 1357 camping up there, even though you're showing him your broadside, they can't pen him because the armor is absolutely outstanding, which is a great feature of this vehicle, and that's what this thing is for. It's for fighting, close range, in a position, blocking damage, and alpha damaging the enemy, basically. That's what this thing is for. And that can be very interesting to play if you like that kind of playstyle, you know, up close, very in there. Then this can also be a very great tank for you. And it's also a very easy tank to play because it has a lot of armor, it has high alpha damage, so there is not much you can do wrong with this tank. Unless you just go city like these people. Then you can do quite a lot of things wrong. Okay. 2k damage so far. They're quite low. So I don't really know what this team is or what this game is. I'm really confused, but I guess if both teams suck, it's a lot easier to win. Now, 2000 damage so far, which is not that great. Now, obviously, it does take quite a while to rack up the damage. 2000 DPM is not great, but it is certainly good enough for this vehicle. And, ouch. Okay, where's the KV-3? They're platooned, so I would assume that he's camping as well. Or that he's even AFK, because it's a KV-3, so if you don't see the KV-3 in the city, he's either bad or AFK. Or both. Now, let's see if we can catch this guy. Here we go. Itchy, and nice. And he is indeed AFK. And now, I would wish I had a medium tank, because then I could get there a lot faster. But overall, for a new player, for a beginner premium tank, this is an amazing vehicle at an amazing price, and I can definitely recommend it for that. It is absolutely beautiful. The problem I have with it, I'm not a fan of the way how it plays, so there's that. So if you like main battle tanks like me, it might not be the greatest of choice. However, it is a great entry-level premium tank. It can also work well in tournaments because, you know, it has the armor, it has the alpha damage, it's very good at trading. So for that, it does work beautifully at a great price. So now we're getting to the second one with the object right here, and oh no, not again. Now, let's go obviously to the right side of the map. You don't want to be in the city. City's bad. Because you don't have much map control. I mean, on this map, you can go here. This lane could also be quite useful. But most of the time, if you go back here, you just end up losing because you don't have the map control. That's the most important thing in Blitz. Control the map, win the game. Or just have a guy do that. That also is quite effective. Now, their light tank is dead, which means they're either all out here or not out here at all. Which means I'm going to turn into a light tank myself here, and someone is capping. And they're over there, which is a great thing for us. Because that way, that means I can now go into their spawn somewhat and try to find some tank destroyers. Here we go. Now this is where this tank works very well, you know? High alpha damage. Situation like this, where you don't need gun depression, but you can use your armor. That is where you want to have this thing. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of it, so take this video as a bit of it's good, but I don't like it. Basically, that's what the point of this video is mainly. There's a guy coming back, so I'm gonna have to watch out for that. Obviously, they can't pen the turret unless they do hit the very small cupolas on top. So I'm gonna have to try to angle it here a bit. Ferdinand does have the top gun as far as I know, so he can do quite a lot of damage because mouse gun has quite a decent amount of pen. And there's the massive lower plate that I've been talking about, even though I can't hit it because Russian tank. But yeah, that's the one thing that pulls this down the most, because this is a very much armor focused vehicle. It's not about the gun as much, it's more about the armor, it's more about blocking damage, it's more about side scraping especially as well. And because the side armor is absolutely outstanding, and also with the plate being very thick, it's also very hard to actually pen that plate, so this thing is very, very good at side scraping as well. And that's what it's good for. However, if you're doing it like that, then you can have this absolutely massive lower plate exposed, and you're gonna get shot through it. And then there's the 50 TP pushing me right there. Okay, now our players in the city are dead. What a surprise. And now I'm going to be pushed by a K91, which is something that I'm gonna have to get very up close to, or try to get up close at least. And because that way he won't be able to penetrate my upper plate. He can easily penetrate the lower plate, but he won't be able to penetrate the upper plate, and he has to shoot into the cupolas. If I do keep moving, I can sort of make him not do that. And now he has penned 1 shot out of 3 and sort of made myself redeemable here. And now we're going to have to watch out, because obviously he's trying to get close as well, because the trick that works for me also works for him. So we're going to have to go for the WT here. Going to do some damage. Going to use the side armor. I'll try to, but now with the massive lower plate is exposed, and now I'm going to die. But nonetheless, that was a pretty good game. You can kind of see how this tank plays. Now it's about the armor. It's about using the armor effectively. Come on, don't fush this up, guys. Come on, just kill the brat. Just kill the W. Anyway, with that said, I do definitely recommend that you get the 2 of TU. It is not suitable for everyone, obviously, but it is a very easy tank to play. It is a very good tank to make credits with, and it works wonderfully. However, if you're already an experienced player and you know what tanks you like, you're more of a main battle tank guy like me, you might want to stay away from it. But in general, it's a very good tank at a very good price. So, if you want it, if you have the money to afford it, obviously that has to be said as well. Don't buy it if you can't afford it. And yeah, do that. And as always, thanks for watching. See you for the next one. Goodbye.